This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to Lesson 3-6, Example 2, Understanding Correlation Coefficients. So, what does the correlation coefficient reveal about the quantities in bivariate data set? What that means is, if I have a table, bivariate, two variables, if I have a table of two variables, x and y, for example, what does a correlation coefficient tell me about how they're related? So when you perform a linear regression using technology, either graphing calculators or Desmos, you are also given the correlation coefficient. And the correlation coefficient is represented by R, and it is a number between -1 and 1 that indicates the direction and the strength of the linear relationship between the two quantity variables in a bivariate data set, a set of data that uses two variables. So R is between -1 and 1. So it can equal -1, it can equal +1, or any decimal in between. In this case, it is 0.9954 in the example that we just completed, okay? Since we're not using graphing calculators this year, we don't have to worry about this. Desmos actually gives it to us. If we were using a graphing calculator, for example, a TI-84, and when you do a linear regression, if it doesn't show you the R, then you need to turn on your stat diagnostics to on in the mode menu. Okay, so if the correlation coefficient, if R is close to 1, then there is a strong positive correlation between the two variables. That is, as the variables of x increase, so do the values of y. So for example, this would be an example of a strong positive correlation. As x's get larger, y's get larger. A strong positive correlation would have an R value that's close to 1. So 0.984, very close to 1. Okay. When the correlation coefficient is close to 0, there is a weak correlation between the two variables. We might even say no correlation. Okay, in this case, these points are really very scattered. They're not line-ish, and they're not increasing or decreasing that we can tell. So this R value of -0.284 is close to 0. Therefore, this data has no correlation. Or a weak, I'm sorry, not no, weak correlation. Weak, strong positive, when the correlation coefficient is close to -1, there's a strong negative correlation between the two variables. So if you're going to write it down, this is what you should write down. Correlation coefficient close to 1, strong positive correlation. Close to 0, weak correlation. Close to -1, strong negative correlation. The closer the R value, oopsie daisy, the closer the R value is to 1 or -1, the more line-ish your lines are going to be. Nope, there's the bell. Okay, try it for example 2. What does each correlation coefficient reveal about the data it describes? Pause the video, write your answers, be prepared. Okay, the first one, an R value of 0.1 is close to 0. That means there will be a weak correlation. An R value of -0.6 is actually closer to -1. So that means this will be a strong negative correlation. Thank you.